Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about the new Earth Legendary Riftwatcher airdrop card. It was revealed in the recent town hall, and I think this card is pretty interesting, and I love the way that this is going to fit and how this is going to speak to some of the meta cards that are out there right now, and it's going to, I think, counter some of those talented, amazing decks and plays. So if that sounds interesting, make sure you stick around and stay tuned for this one, and consider liking and subscribing. Thanks, guys. Get into it. So the first thing is that there was a town hall today. It's December 5th, 2022, and there was a town hall, and in the town hall they revealed a few things. I mean, they revealed this card, Ancient Redwood, which was definitely, to me, a winner. This card, there's a lot going on here. There's first of all, archery. How's that going to help with green? Well, first of all, we know Fernheart. Fernheart's new and is going to offer close range to a card like this. It has the hit points to be a tank, so that's going to do just fine in the front end. It's slow, but it's got True Strike. And additionally, you know, there are times where slow goes first. And so I actually love when you get a 1 speed with a True Strike. To me, of course, you know, if you get a 7 speed, an 8 speed, something crazy like that, and True Strike, that's more often than not going to be even more beneficial, because it's likely going to go first in all of those normal rule sets. But with green in particular, I really like this slow play. I find green, especially from a modern deck perspective, is one of the slower teams. And so this actually synergizes in my mind quite well with not just Fernheart and the archery from the close range that Fernheart summoner, Riftwatcher summoner will offer, but also the True Strike blending with the 1 speed and resolving that issue of miss or not miss, because speed is so relevant and True Strike is answering that. And then green is one of the slower teams, and so as a result, this is going to fit in. And actually, I've said to you before, and I'll say again, I don't really think speed is so important in this game. It absolutely is, but one caveat to that is, if your opponent can't kill you in the first turn with their first kind of onslaught of attacks, they get 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 attacks. If they don't kill you in that attack volley, and you then have, you know, all of the remaining attacks, you choose a slow team and you're planning to survive their attack in the first volley, and then you're planning to counter in a major way, that can be a very strategically powerful approach to victory. When you try that, you have to be careful that you don't get steamrolled, because if it is about speed every single round and they're firing first, ultimately that can be very devastating. But if you bring out heavy hitters that are dropping this sort of damage, and we'll get into the details of how, you know, powerful this thing could be, how much damage it could be outputting, I think it's certainly possible if you weather that first storm and you will hit harder after they're pausing. None of their heals are going to take effect, because you're going to hit consecutively with 1 speed. All of your guys being last to punch will all punch consecutively, and that's when you're going to start seeing deletions of enemies. You're not going to see triages, you're not going to see repairs, you're not going to see tank heals counteracting what you're doing, because all of your guys are firing in sequence. And so I actually really like the kit of True Strike with this 1 speed. I also like the 1 speed with the green team. I also like the archery with Fernheart. And that's all just some of the modern kind of considerations, but there's actually so many here, because the fury and the piercing and the okay, one thing at a time. This one's exciting. Like, let's go Reflection Shield. Love it, because the most successful, probably the most played of all the Riftwatcher summoners is the life one, Ilthane. 54% win rate, actually. I was kind of surprised to see that. And I'm surprised to see 41% for Skargor and 31% for Aquatis. But anyways, the archery reflect and the speed. So in some sense, I feel like this card is actually a moderate counter, or at least a contributor to the countering of Ilthane. This is a big discrepancy. If 30% win to 54 is a huge differential between the worst and the best of the Riftwatcher summoners. And I think they took that into consideration when they designed this legendary archery card. One of the things two of the things that Ilthane does well is, one, being faster means it's going to hit first and often kill you before you kill it. Second, the archery reflect is of course powerful. It's always nice when you can throw damage back at them. Plus, in this meta, Amplify is so easy to come by, and therefore you start kicking up crazy amounts of damage. And so one of the things you can do to lower a win rate on a card like Illithane and try and bring it more in line with the rest of the herd would be to offer a few monster cards that really lean on some of its best abilities, its best practices. The speed is still amazing. You're going to love that +1 speed, but if I come with True Strike, I'm going to hit you no matter what. You've got Archery Reflect, but if I've got Reflection Shield, it's irrelevant. And so it's just one card. It's just one card. But you can't say that this wouldn't be crushing, right? We got and then not only is it 6 damage at the highest levels, it's 5 at the lowest. 5 with the True Strike. And now this is subject to change, so we'll see what happens, but 5 damage output with at the first level. And you're not going to miss. I think everyone's going to need this card at every single level. And I think at silver, it starts getting really nasty because of the Reflection Shield and because of the power that's going to wield at being a counter against your white team. And then in golden champion, when you get that Fury, because that's the next thing. One of the other cards we've seen be so successful lately is definitely the Coral Lurker. Taunt, dodge, phase, thorns, crazy speed, evasive, huge sustainability because of the massive meat shield, 13 hit points at the highest level, easy to repair, heal. And so because it's so evasive, it can often stay alive for quite a while, but True Strike is a bit of an answer to that. When this card was popping off and really kind of taking control of the meta, I went through and I was looking at what True Strike was like, and we should do that now. I don't recall what I found, but what I do remember noting was that of all the True Strikes, look at this. This is Modern League only. We got 3 reds, we got 2 blacks, we got 2 dragons, we got 2 lives, we got 1 blue and 1 green. And so I said there should probably be another green and there should be another blue True Strike. And as we get more True Strike, you start to see fewer and fewer reasons why, for instance, Byzantine Kitty controls the meta, or where Illithane ends up being less powerful because there's just more and more True Strikes. And I do think that every team should probably have an equal or close to equal amount of True Strikes. It should be a play that's available to each team. Maybe it's satisfactory that they only have one, but I'm let's put it this way, I'm not surprised green is getting another True Strike, and I wouldn't be surprised if blue got another one. And so yeah, I think it's an amazing card from a lot of perspectives, and I think the kit works so well together. I can imagine this working so well together. Like I say, Coral Lurker, some of those taunt monsters, there's a lot of taunts become a meta too, right? Taunt is a bit of a meta, speed is a meta. This archery and reflect and amplify are definitely a part of the meta. And so I feel like this card actually speaks to those 3 different concerns about what your opponent could be dropping. And like I said, it partners with Fernheart. So an 11 hit points is substantial. Like you could, in conjunction with Fernheart, put this in the first position. I don't think you'd want to. I think this is the sort of card you're going to want to put in the back and let it do its thing for as long as possible. But if this made its way to the front with a Fernheart or with a close range rule set, I think you're going to be quite happy with what happens. And so just to finish the thought on the Fury with the piercing, piercing is always amazing, especially when you're doing a big amount of damage, because lack of piercing can be stopped by 1 armor, but then suddenly you get the piercing and you punch through for a full 6. In fact, 6 becomes 12, right, because of the Fury. And so I think that is the really interesting part. Like, it's not just that it could theoretically go well with the Riftwatcher summoners, which it would, and you're definitely going to enjoy that. It's not just that it has the reflection shield and that it's going to be resistant against those archery reflectors. It's not just the True Strike, it's not just the high damage, it's not just the hit points. It's actually an amazing package. I think it's an excellent card, and I think it's going to be highly desired, especially in the context of the green team that it will be partnered inside of. The speed being slow, I think, is good. We'll look at that quickly here. The True Strike, of course, is necessary. The Fury helping against the taunt meta. Man, I love it. And so, yeah, Fernheart, look at that. I mean, Fernheart's strong as is. I feel like this is another feather in the cap of Fernheart. Now, this is smaller battle data, but it's not nothing. I consider that relatively trustworthy. And I would say that Fernheart is, look at that, high bid 270, low buy 440. This has been an evolving number, but this used to be over $5, even over $6. This should be over $7. They're all coming down. And I think that's just the lack of exuberance around these cards. But I definitely think, and I have thought for at least a few weeks, that Fernheart's a strong one, and this makes him more strong. Before we go, I just want to highlight some of the green monsters and just talk about a little bit about how I think that'll work. Look at this. Hill Giant's a slower monster, 3 at the higher levels. Like at the high, like let's look at it from the higher levels, because that version was at the highest level. That version of the new, what's it called? Ancient Redwood, highest level, level 4. And so partnerships that you'd be looking for would be like Fernheart, and then, you know, who do I like? Goblin Tower's a slow card. Psychic Goblin's a slow card. Mycelic Infantry's a slow card. Bramble's quite fast, right? Yeah, 4 speed at the higher levels. Hunter Jarks with his True Strike, 2 speed at the highest levels. Another 3 speed from the Oloth the Dampier. There's no attack or anything from the Field Summoner. This is a neutral, but you do have a slow speed there with the Legionnaire. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of strong, the Uncron, Blight, a lot of strong cards that are on the Jinbilka 1 or 2 speed, I think, at the higher levels. What is it? Just 1? Yeah, just 1. So, I mean, this is one of the teams that, in my opinion, is actually among the slower, whether it's tank, support, carry cards, and therefore, I think the Ancient Redwood's going to fit in really well. I'm excited for this one. I'm not going to get enough of it. I only bought just a handful of Riftwatcher cards, so I'm going to need to buy some off the marketplace, but I do have some DEC set aside for that. Oh, I should close this video by telling you guys that I know I said I was going to do a bulk buy for Chaos Legion through the Christmas sale, but it just, first of all, there wasn't enough interest to really manifest on under like me buying it, but then also YGG, who I know and trust, are arranging a bulk buy, and so I know some people there, and I'm facilitating a buy through them. And so I'm just kind of partnering with them. I'm letting them do the paperwork, the distribution, the hassle, and I am getting some benefit for, like, you know, obviously discounted packs because they're buying at a higher rate. But then I am losing some benefit because I'm going through them. I'm not going to get any affiliate bonuses, and I'm not necessarily going to get all of the airdrops that I am deserving of. I'm just going to get the ones that I'm guaranteed. And so, anyways, I just wanted to say that if you guys were waiting on me to kind of pull the trigger on a bulk buy for the Chaos Legion Christmas sale, I will not be doing that. Thank you guys for your interest. Those of you who have reached out to me, I have directly spoken to you and explained this already, but I just wanted to say it on the channel also. Guys, have an amazing day. God bless.